Hi, love. Welcome back to Catalyst Conversations. I'm really glad you're here because today's conversation is one that almost every entrepreneur, especially soul-led entrepreneurs, struggles with quietly, right? And I want you to hear this the way I mean it. Not as judgment, not as strategy, not as advice you should already know, but as a human truth. You are never meant to do everything on your own. Let that sink in. Not in life, not in business, not in leadership, not in the middle of whatever season you're in right now. And yet, somewhere along the way, we learn to wear every hat. The front-facing ones, the behind-the-scene ones, the emergency ones, the emotional ones, and the ones we didn't even know we were wearing until we tried to take one off and realized it was glued to our head. Today, we're going to talk about that. Not from a place of you need better systems, but from a place of how much of your life is being held together by habits you never meant to build. Take a breath with me. We're going to move slowly through this. Okay, so when people talk about wearing all the hats, it sounds almost cute in a way, like a meme, like a relatable entrepreneur joke. Oh, I'm the CEO and the janitor, right? Or I'm the visionary and the whole damn team. But the experience of it, the lived experience, isn't cute. It's heavy, often lonely. It's exhausting in a way that sleep can't fix. And it can make even the most powerful leaders question themselves. Here's what most people don't say out loud. Wearing every hat is usually not about capability. You are absolutely capable. You've proven that already. Wearing every hat is about survival. It's how you learn to cope with pressure, to keep people happy, to avoid things falling apart, to maintain control when the alternative felt unpredictable or unsafe. If you trace it back, not in a therapy session, just in your heart, you'll find something like this. If I don't do it, it won't get done. Okay. If I ask for help, I'm a burden. If I let go, something bad might happen. If I slow down, everything might collapse. If I'm not the strong one, who will be? Right? These aren't busyness thoughts. These are identity thoughts, protective thoughts. They are so deeply human. You didn't choose to wear every hat because you wanted to. You learned to because you had to. But just because it protected you then doesn't mean it serves you now. I want to talk about the costs, not the financial costs, not the productivity costs, the human ones, the ones you don't see until you're already stretched thin. Okay? Decision fatigue. When you're the when you're the only one thinking, planning, deciding, troubleshooting, organizing, creating, your brain never shuts off. You start to feel foggy, emotional, irritable. Just because you're emotional, decision fatigue. When you're the only one thinking, planning, deciding, troubleshooting, organizing, creating, your brain never shuts off. You start to feel foggy, emotional, or irritable, not because you're emotional, but because your mind is overloaded. Loss of creativity. Did you know that creativity requires space? Full plates don't leave space. Okay, when everything depends on you, the ideas stop flowing. Not because you're not creative, but because your system is in survival mode. Emotional flatness. When you're constantly managing, your emotional range compresses. You're not sad, not excited, not angry, not joyful. You're just functioning, right? Resentment, you don't want to admit. Resentment towards the business, toward your clients, toward the workload, toward the pressure. And then shame about feeling resentful. It's a cycle that quietly eats your capacity. Losing yourself. When you're wearing all the hats, you're not being the CEO. You're not being the creator. You're not being the visionary. You're being the firefighter every day. These costs don't make you weak. They make you human. And they're a whisper, a soft one, that something is ready to shift. Okay. Let's talk about the why, because this isn't about laziness or lack of knowledge. In fact, the people who wear all the hats are usually the most capable, resourceful, intelligent people in the room. Okay. So why do you, the catalyst, take on so much? I want to name a few things gently. You don't trust people yet. Okay. Not because they're untrustworthy, but because your body remembers the times when trusting someone cost you something. You can tolerate more than most, right? Your threshold is higher. You push further, you carry more, you endure more. That doesn't mean you should. It just means you can. Okay? You don't want to burden others. You've always been the strong one, the capable one, the one that holds it all. Receiving support feels unfamiliar, not because you don't deserve it, but because you were never allowed to need it. You tie identity to responsibility. The more you carry, the more valuable you feel. The less you carry, the more guilty you feel. It's not logical, and it is relational. Okay. And you're afraid of the space that support creates because space means facing yourself. Space means making bigger decisions. Space means growth, expansion, and visibility. And sometimes busyness feels safer than becoming who you really are. If any of this hits you straight in the chest, in that place that tightens when something lands, know this. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're just tired. And tired leaders don't need productivity hacks. They need support. Okay? So let's shift into something more gentle. Something I call structure that supports. Not structure that suffocates, not structure that boxes you in, not structure you resent, but structure that feels like an exhale. Structure that says, you don't have to carry this alone anymore. The hardest part of moving out of survival mode isn't the doing, it's the identity shift. Okay. It's learning to let go, learning to trust, and learning to receive. It's learning that the world won't fall apart if you're not holding every thread together. Structure that supports looks like simple workflows that reduce mental load, right? A few documented steps that make delegation possible. A rhythm in your week that creates breathing room, that creates that space. Boundaries that feel like relief instead of restriction. Asking for help without apologizing, right? And you don't need a whole team to start. You don't need a VA tomorrow. You don't need perfect documentation or color-coded systems. You just need honesty. Honesty about what hurts, what drains you, what you're tired of managing, what you dread doing every week, and what parts of your business feel too heavy to keep holding in the same way. Honesty is the first system. Okay. I want to talk about the emotional side of support because people skip this part. Support isn't logical, it's vulnerable. Okay. It requires admitting that you can't do it all, letting someone see the mess behind the curtain, relinquishing that control, allowing yourself to receive, softening the armor, trusting your intuition, trusting yourself. And when a catalyst starts receiving support, two things happen. One, there's grief. Okay. Grief for the years that you carried too much. Grief for the younger version of you who had no choice. And grief for the seasons when you needed help and you didn't know how to ask. Okay. And two, there's relief. Relief in your body, relief in your schedule, relief in your spirit, and relief that makes space for presence, creativity, and leadership again. Support, and I'm talking real support here, doesn't make you less powerful. It makes you more powerful because it frees you from the chaos that you were never meant to define you. Okay. Before we close, I want to offer you one simple reflection. What is one hat you're tired of wearing that you're finally willing to set down? Not all of them. Okay. We're talking small, subtle shifts here. Not all of them, just one. You don't need to know how. You don't need a 10-step plan. You just need that honesty. Okay. So if this conversation brought you clarity or softness, or even just that feeling of, oh my God, finally someone said it, right? And you want to explore what support could look like in a way that feels human, gentle, and sustainable, you're welcome to book a call with me at talkwithdesi.com. No pressure, no expectations, just space for you. Okay. And I will see you in the next episode.